Hey everyone, happy Monday. I'm glad you're back with us today. We are going to use some of that knowledge that we did use from shapes last week and fractions and partitioning them to build on and to move into some clocks today. So you're going to need some paper, some crayons, and a pencil if you have them today. And if you have scissors, even better, because we're going to work on making our own clocks as we work through our problems today. So we're going to get started and read through our objective for today. So today, our objective and goal is that I can construct a paper clock by partitioning a circle and tell time to the hour. So today we are going to focus on breaking apart a circle or partitioning a circle to be able to tell time and just working on that hour hand today, okay? So what shape do you see in this paper right here? I know you guys don't have it in front of you, but if you can create this with me. So this is a circle. So if you're able to, go ahead, you can get like a bowl and trace it on a paper and cut it out. You can use a ruler, but don't cut it up through the middle or anything yet until you know exactly what your circle needs to look like in the middle. So what we're gonna do with this circle today is that we're gonna take some observations. So what do you notice about the dotted lines on the circle? So you're right. So you can notice that every single one of these dotted lines starts from the center and goes outwards to the edge all the way. Or you can see that they can go from one end of the circle to the other end of the circle right through the middle or the width of it, right? And when we talked about circles last time, remember when we cut fractions apart, we said that a circle always has to be cut through the center to make the lines and partitions equal. So look at the spaces between the dotted lines. Are the parts equal or are all the parts different sizes? Think about it. I want you to look very closely. Use those eyes. You can see them on my screen. So yeah, they're all partitioned in equal sizes. They're all the same size. So let's count the parts of them. Count the parts, and we're going to use our finger to go around the edges to count how many there are. Stretch, and we're going to stretch out the numbers, okay? So we're always going to start from the top of this shape right here in this circle. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you guys see my drawing around the outside, and we're just going to go right here from the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So how many equal parts are there? There are 12 equal parts. Awesome. So now that we were able to count and talk about how many equal parts there are, we're going to go ahead and look a little more closely at our circle in the partition shape that we have. So we're going to start by first tracing the edges with a brown as we number each section. So again, if you're able to, draw a circle, trace it with us, or just follow along as I do it so it can help you as we learn more about our clock. Make sure I have a brown and I'm going to draw, okay? So just like we did, we want 1. So on this line, I'm going to put the 1, 2. On this line goes 2, 3, 4, 5. On this line gets a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All the way back to where we started, right? So we went around in brown. So what we're going to do now is it tells us that we're going to shade in different parts. So let's see exactly what they want us to do. It says that we need to be able to, wait, first of all, does this look like something you've seen before? It looks just like our clock, or when we have a clock around your house or in our classroom, we've made a little clock, right? So we have to make sure that there are 12 different pieces to our clock, or different partitioned sections, okay? So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna color in the 12 parts so we can see them easier, but we're gonna alternate between orange and yellow so we can tell where different hours are. So I'm gonna start with orange, and I'm gonna go and start right here at the top like we did before, and I'm gonna color in this section right here. So this is, and I know the next one will be yellow, so I'm gonna skip it, and I'm gonna do orange here. I'm gonna skip this one because that'll be yellow, orange, yellow, orange, yellow, orange, yellow, orange, okay? So now I can pull out my yellow crayon. If you're able to do this, great. If not, just follow along with me. This will be a yellow section. This will be a yellow section. This will be a yellow section, a yellow section, yellow, and yellow as well. So now we can see there are 12 different pieces and each one's a different color. So mine's a little messy. It's kind of hard to do on a computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear my drawing for you, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the one that we have created that looks a little bit more pretty for us, okay? So you can see that the darker colors and the lighter colors, and they labeled around the outside, starting with 1, 2, 3, okay? They went all the way around until I got to 12. So what else do we need to add to ours? What else is important for us to put onto a clock? Right, so we need the hour and the minute hand, okay? So if you're able to, you can get some straws, you can get some toothpicks, you can cut some paper, whatever you need to do to help you create an hour and minute hands. Or if you have a clock at home that you can use, that's even better, okay? So we now have a clock, and we know that this is 12 o'clock because our shorthand tells us the hour and the longhand tells us the minutes, right? So right now there is 12 with 0 minutes, so it's 12 o'clock. So at midnight or 12 o'clock every night we begin a new day. So as the minute hand goes by, both hands of the clock keep moving, okay? So the minute hand will move and the hour hand moves very, very slowly. And so the time that it gets to the next top for the minute hand, the hour hand has moved from the 10 to the 11, or from like 11 to 12. It's moved one small section that you can see is colored in here, and we'll get more into that tomorrow. But I just want us to be able to focus on right now the shorthand tells us the hour, and the longhand is going to tell us the minutes, okay? So what can we look at on our hand to tell us which hour we have completed in the new day? So remember our clock sign, the shorthand goes number to tell us the hour. So right now I can tell right here that my shorthand, my hour hand, is pointing directly to the 1, and my minute hand is still up top on that 12. And we know that whenever it gets to the top, we say, oh, clock, because the new hour has started. So what we would say is that it is 1 o'clock. And this is how we would say 1 o'clock on a digital clock right here. So on the side over here, this is a digital clock, while this is an analog clock, okay? So let's take a look at another one. Okay, so look at this one. Let's see what time it is. I know my minute hand tells me the hour. I'm sorry, my little hand tells me the hour, and the long hand tells me the minutes. So I see my hours at 3 and the minutes at the top. So I'm gonna say I think it's 3 o'clock. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, I was right. And you can see it's 3 dot dot or semicolon 0 0. So 3 o'clock. So now it's your turn. I want you to move the hands of your clock so that it says 11 o'clock. What's my hour? So where does the shorthand need to point to? Because the hour is a shorthand. Right. So my hour is going to be at the 11. So what number does a minute hand need to point to? Up at the 12, because that's where our minutes say o'clock. It is 11 o'clock on my clock now. So what do you think the digital clock of this would look like? Think about it, write it down if you can. And yes, this is what it would look like. I hope you knew what it would look like for the digital clock from seeing what our analog clock looks like. Okay, so if you're able to, I want you to go ahead and draw some clocks. You can quiz a parent, a sibling. You could play some games with it, be able to read the clock around your house if you have an analog or digital clock. So be able to write the two of them and draw it in a picture on the analog clock, and then be able to write the number like a digital clock. But when you're done with that, I want you to go ahead and move to the problem set questions. And on the problem set questions today, what you're going to be doing is matching these analog clocks up top to the digital clock on the bottom. And you can tell that every single one of them says o'clock. So you just really need to be able to tell what the hour is pointing to and match it to that. So for number 2, put the hour hand on this clock so that it reads 3 o'clock. This one should be pretty simple. Just make sure you draw that the hour hand is short, because that is the short hand. Okay, so now on these ones, you're going to see for all of 3, A through O, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be reading an analog clock or a digital clock. Okay, so for a clock like on letter A, you're going to say, okay, I see I need to put in the numbers or the digital version of it. So I could say, I know that I see my long hand is at the top. So I know that my minutes are going to be 0, 0, because there's no minutes. But I can see my hour hand, the shorthand, is up at the 12. So this clock says 12 o'clock. And you can see next to it, some of them say o'clock. So all you have to do is put in, oh, I see the shorthand is pointing directly to the 1. So this one is 1 o'clock. Okay, so you can go ahead and go through and just be able to read the clocks and put in the correct numbers. So I hope you guys were able to know how to read a clock and help working on reading a clock, because we're going to use this knowledge, if this was easy for you, to be able to build on to read clocks with different minutes. Right now we're focusing on just no minutes and just the hour, but tomorrow we're going to challenge our brains a little bit more, so make sure you practice and are ready for tomorrow.